The Remarkable company is nothing short of remarkable. They've managed to stay alive with one single unit in the modern eNote era. The Remarkable 2 is going on its third year in existence, and still packs a punch. Well, playing within its own ranks, that is. You see, the landscape has changed pretty drastically since the Remarkable 2 came out in 2020. Hyper tablets from Onyx and Bigme are on the rise and have disrupted the industry with massive amounts of RAM, huge storage sizes, multiple speed modes, onboard audio, glow lights, video playback, Google Play, and much more. All things that the Remarkable 2 just can't compete with. But Remarkable has stood true, releasing update after update, further refining the note-taking experience. So let's see how this device held up after 3 years, and check out the Remarkable 2. This is the Remarkable 2, everyone. If you have never seen this before, click the video card up above and you will see the full review in its entirety right there. We're going to go over this as a little bit of a refresher because it has been 3 years. When you click the top left corner, you get My Files, you get filters to go between PDFs, ebooks, and notebooks. You can go over to your favorites, look for your tags, and you can go down here to Settings. Settings is going to have everything you're going to need for this unit, from Wi-Fi, battery, storage, and the storage has increased. We'll show you in a little bit. You can go to language, you can go to accessibility, and security actually has an additional feature as well, personal information. Now, when you are on the unit like this, remember, we are coming back from 2020 to 2023, so we've been bombarded by super high-end tablets like the Onyx Books line, the Bigme line, High Read, and everyone in between. This unit doesn't have those features because it is not a tablet with an e-paper screen. This is a note-taking slate. All it is meant to do is notes, ebooks, and PDFs. And that's exactly what it says when you go here and you go to the filters. That's what it can do. And even it's arguable that the ebook is really an ebook reader because really it shares a lot of the same palettes and functionality from notebooks. Outside of that, there's nothing you can do on here. There's no marketplace, there's no bookstore, there's really nothing there. So what we're going to do is just start a note because this is where everything lies. Quick Sheets. The Remarkable excels at note-taking. It in fact is one of the best note-taking experiences on the market. Despite the fact that it lacks a lot of fundamental features like audio and glow lights and things like that, it can't be argued that this is a great note-taking device. The biggest thing that stands out to a lot of people is the pencil. They started it. They allowed you to do this. Tilt. You can tilt the pencil and it actually changes the way it looks, just like a pencil. Since then, like I said, we're going back from a 3-year gap. Now Onyx can do it, Lenovo can do it, even iReader does it via software, kind of. So there are other manufacturers that have now achieved that, but it did start all with Remarkable. You have a different choices when it comes to eraser. You can do eraser selection, in which case you select an area and it'll erase that. You can use the back of the pen, you can use the side button, or you can erase all, which we're going to do right now. If you press undo, it'll do undo. Now you can do a bunch of things. You can actually tap with 3 fingers and 2 fingers and do a lot of different things to go back and forth, and now they have 2 fingers up and down, left and right, and we covered that in the video card up above with the latest update, so you can check that out as well. Now what we're going to do is we have some strokes here. Now if you set it to thin, medium, or thick, that, not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't really upset the pressure sensitivity all that much. For example, if we go to paintbrush and we go to thick gray, you will see that I can make fairly thin lines, but I can also make these thicker bleeds, and as you leave it on the page longer, kind of bleeds more and more, which is really cool. All of these are as authentic as they can possibly be. There's a few shortcomings. They do say this is the most paper-like feel in the industry. Unfortunately, it isn't. That would be to the helm of the Fujitsu and the Remarkable One even, and the Sony DPT RP1 and the King Jim Freno and the Mobi Scribe. Those are devices that truly feel like paper. This one doesn't feel bad by any means, but it most certainly is not the #1 best paper feeling device in the market. It does have an adequate amount of grip. It kind of sticks on the page an alright amount. It's a little bit slippery compared to other units, but it's worlds above the Goody Reader Big Me Ink Note Color, the Onyx Max Lumi, for example. So in that regard, they do have it down. You do have a bunch of different pens: mechanical pencil, calligraphy pen, and they all kind of do what they're supposed to do. The paintbrush bleeds, the highlighter is a thick translucent line, the pencil is fantastic, and the ballpoint is pretty much consistent throughout the gates. So really, you do have the authenticity of what all the pens do. You can add text as well, and depending on what you're using, pen, paintbrush, calligraphy, you'll have different colors: black, gray, white, or only black and white, or sometimes you'll have an exported color, like if you're grading papers, you draw a bunch of X's. Those will all be red when it comes time to export your files. You do have a selector as well, so if we draw something in the middle, you can go ahead and use the selector tool, box it around like that, move it around. You can stamp it, you can copy it, you can expand it, you can rotate it, you can do a bunch of stuff, and again, you can do undo if you make a mistake and redo to bring it back. The staining is a little bit of a problem because the Remarkable's so fast. It doesn't flicker and refresh on its own all that much. You have to do different things or wait for it like that for it to actually go away. There's a couple more options down below here. You have this one, which is jump to page. You can do grid view, or you can do list view. These will be all your pages and you can go to them as you see fit. Over here is what we talked about earlier with tags. This one is the most important one, and again, Remarkable kind of started this and innovated. Layers. Layers is really cool. You can add a ton of layers, including a template layer. Once you are on a layer, say layer 3, you go ahead and grab something like a pencil, you draw over the thing you were drawing, and then you accidentally erase it. You're like, oh no, it's going to erase everything. No, it only affects the layer you are working on. You can move them up, you can move them down, you can delete them, and you can change the template layer to a ton of preset layers. This is a ton of templates that you can choose from. In fact, the amount of templates is technically endless, because if you go on the internet and download patterns like this in a PDF format, sideload them on here, and then open them, well, as long as they're blank, you can basically use them as is. Those are just the preset ones. Over here, now this is where a lot of the things happen with the Remarkable Connect portion of it, and we're going to show you that when we do the comparison. But certain things based on when you bought it, what you're subscribed to, when you bought your unit, when it's expiring, your trial, the package you have, it's all going to depend on what you can and can't do. You'll have to check out Connect for that. You have notebook settings. This is where you're going to have your name, and the notebook cover will either be the last page visited or the first page, so you can draw your cover page like that. You have search, which searches text, so it'll only obviously search text-based things. If you write something with the pen, unfortunately you can't search for that because everyone writes differently. You have landscape, and you can add a page. As you add pages, everything will be pages like that. You can swipe to add more by bringing up the little circle right there. You can do whatever you want with that, and then you go back here and you can click that view again to go between all of the pages you have done. Now, that's it for this unit, but they've done one more thing. They've added a keyboard, and we're not talking the text keyboard like this. Well, what do you mean a keyboard? No, they've actually made a keyboard, which is a brand new product right here. What you would do is just put it directly on the table, nice and flat. Open up the top half, not the bottom. It kind of splits out into two. You want to do that one after. You can't really mess this part up. It goes into the pogo pins, and it has the little dimples that hold down like that have space for the rubber stoppers, and that's basically it. From here, you flip it up like so, and you have yourself a Remarkable keyboard. When you plug it in, automatically a prompt is going to come up that says your keyboard is just as focused as you are. Follow the preferences. You can do keyboard shortcuts that are more in tune with a PC or a Mac. Finally, from there, you can start using the keyboard as is. Unfortunately, even though it's plugged in, the keys don't do anything. So like on an Onyx, for example, you can actually do things like up and down, left and right to navigate around the page. As you press down, there will be a little borderline highlighted circle or square that would be somewhere on the page indicating where you are, but this one doesn't have that functionality. So what we would do is we would go into a notebook like this, start it up, click on Quick Sheets, go over to text, and then we can start typing. What a beautiful package this brings to the table, honestly. It gives you all the advantages of the leather folio they already sell on their site, but has a hidden keyboard in it. You don't even need to use it as the keyboard because it's so seamless and hidden under this little hinge. You don't even know it's there until you pop it up. It is rather heavy, but it honestly doesn't add all that much thickness to the overall package, as it's nicely laid inside a thicker portion at the bottom to keep it indiscreetly tucked away. The Remarkable on its own tips the scales at 407 grams. With the attached keyboard in place, we now reach a grand total of 857 grams, so it's not exactly the lightest thing to carry around in your hands. If you are on an older version, and this would be a good time to actually check it out. So on the right we have 3.2.3, 1595, and on the left we have 1305. So there are some advantages to going to a newer firmware if you can do so. You'll notice something interesting is that they've actually expanded the storage. Yes, they freed up more for you to use for your new unit. After the update, they have 6.57 gigs on the new update, and prior to that, you only have 6.4. If you go over to security, you just have passcode, but here now you have personal information. And finally, just splitting hairs, if you go to accessibility, it says normal, and now it says default. And here comes the most glaring problem with Remarkable, Connect. You'll see on our grandfathered in unit, we can convert notes to text, converts it to English, and it says hello just like we've written it. However, on the new one, when we do the same thing, you can't actually do it because you need to sign up for Connect. Connect is a service where you have to pay a monthly plan to enable features from different tiers back onto your Remarkable in order to use them. No other manufacturer or model has withstood the test of time as good as Remarkable, aside from maybe the Sony DPT, but a lot of that has to do with the name brand. But when it's all said and done, Remarkable is playing ball and keeping up with the bigger boys based off of higher quality software, streamlined functions, and distraction-free experience that really isn't focused on by any other major manufacturer currently. With over 1 million units sold by the company, that is saying something, and it kinda speaks for itself. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.